Yes, I am mixed. Not sure why you said it this way, but I'm half black and white. My dad is black, my mom is white. I'm not Hispanic. Everyone thinks I'm Hispanic, but I'm just a light-skinned mulatto girl.
So today we're talking about colorism and how it affects people. This guy asked her if she was a half-breed. Very insulting. But yeah, she's giggling because she's not sure how to react. Colorism is a very controversial subject, and it makes people feel inferior, and it makes people feel like they're restricted, like they don't have the freedom that a lighter skinned person would have. So we're going to dive into what's called quote unquote light skin tiers, some of the pros and cons that comes with the light skin privilege, quote unquote, and also some of the controversy that comes with colorism.
I identify myself as black because my father is black.
Were you raised with your father?
No, I was raised with my mom.
And your mom is white?
Yes.
So why would you identify yourself with black just because your dad's black if you was raised with your mom?
Because my mom told me that I should always identify myself as what my father is.
I would say I just identify myself as being African American, but at the beginning, when I was younger, I used to erase everything and put mixed, and I used to get in trouble by my teachers. And they would always say, why are you putting mixed on there? You're either, black or you're black, basically. And so I would have to say, back then I would say mixed, but now I understand that I kind of have to just say African American because that's what society breaks it down to.
Black, to be honest, because that's the side that I grew up with, so.
I identify myself with black and white because my parents, my mom is mixed, half and half, she's black and white. My grandparents, that's white.
Basically, I'm multiracial, so I don't just choose one race. I just say I'm mixed, or I would mark 3 things on whatever the choices were, or I just say other.
I identify myself as being black the most. Why? For the simple fact, being around my white family so much, I feel like I don't have as much of a touch with my black side of the family. Later on in my adult years, I have been more in touch with them than I have with my white side of the family.
I'm mixed. I'm not going to answer black no white. I'm multiracial.
Multiracial?
Yeah.
Do you hang with one race more than the other?
I mean, growing up on the south side, you ain't got no choice but to hang out with one. So I'm consider myself black. If you put me in a category.
Let's talk about colorism. Colorism is discrimination based on the shade of your skin, and it stems back to slavery. Light-skinned people were made to work in the house while dark-skinned people were forced to work in the fields. This created a division. And because of this, it added on to the connotation that having darker skin is bad. After slavery, light-skinned people were seen as more attractive than darker-skinned people because they looked more white. Which is dumb! This causes light skin to have a privilege over dark skin. Don't think colorism is rare in our society. Take this example, this book, The Hate U Give. You can see that the main character is clearly dark-skinned. But in the movie adaptation, they used a light-skinned actress. Now that doesn't mean the movie was bad. It just goes to show that even light-skinned actresses have an advantage over dark-skinned actresses, even if they don't fit the book's description. Even me, y'all, I assure you, if I was dark-skinned, some of y'all wouldn't be here right now. If you guys take away anything, take away this. Every black person is beautiful and worthy to be treated like royalty, because that's what we are, and don't forget it.
So, to answer the question, what color is light skin? Well, the color of light skinned, in no particular order, is beige, tan, high yellow, medium and dark yellow, golden, light brown, red bone, butter pecan, butterscotch, wheat colored skin tones, cashew colored skin tones, caramel, rose gold skin tones, peach colored, honey colored skin tones, peanut butter. Those colors are all light skinned. And if you think these colors are the average colors of unambiguous dark-skinned black people, you're being intellectually dishonest. Not saying you can't have these skin tones and be monoracial, but the exceptions don't make the rule.
There is not enough light-skinned women to go around for each and every one of y'all to be wanting light-skinned women. Because in recent times, I've been noticing that there is a clear epidemic of black men that only want to date and only prefer light-skinned women. I was talking to my mans over the game the other day, and he was talking to me about his girl issues, and I asked her, oh, what does she look like? He said, oh, she's light-skinned, of course. And I was like, what do you mean, of course? And he was just like, oh, I just can't do the black, dark-skinned shorties. That's just not my stilo. Like, I'd rather just deal with light-skinned women. And I'm like, So you've only been fucking with light-skinned women your entire life? He was like, yeah. And I was just like, damn, bro, like, open up your horizon. And then the other day, I was watching a little bit of the episode of Pop the Balloon with Arlette, and I peeped out all the dudes were preferring the light-skinned woman over the darker-skinned woman. Like, they were all popping on the dark-skinned woman before the light skins. Even here on TikTok, I be seeing all these couples. It's usually a black dude and a light-skinned shorty. Even in real life, I see a lot of black men with light-skinned shorties. I'm just trying to understand, why is everybody trying to bag a light skin? Like, I understand light-skinned women look good. Like, I have my fair share of light skins in the past too, but like, there's not other types of women out there.
Just because you're not aware of your privilege doesn't mean it doesn't exist. 9 times out of 10, a light-skinned woman is going to be chosen for a role in the media over a dark-skinned or brown-skinned woman, even in roles where a darker-skinned black woman would make more sense for the role. Light-skin privilege is being represented in the media as soft and feminine and desirable, while darker-skinned women are perceived as angry, bitter, ghetto. Light skin privilege is not having to question whether you'll be led into a party based on your skin color. Light skin privilege is always being able to find a foundation color that matches your skin tone. Light skin privilege is being able to wear band-aids that are the same color as you. Light skin privilege is wearing the color nude and it actually looks nude on you. Light skin privilege is people assuming that all biracial people are attractive just because they're light skinned. I could go on and on. Trust me, that's not even the tip of the iceberg.
A lot of light-skinned women they develop superiority complexes.
Is it true that some light-skinned women have a superiority complex? Absolutely. They've been gassed up so much that they absolutely do think that them being light-skinned makes them a better woman, right? Just by default. But the reason why this conversation is not fair is because it's not only limited to light skin. Anybody who has been gassed up their whole life about something usually builds up a superiority complex around whatever that thing is. It could be you having a nice body. It could be you being tall and slim like a model. It could be long hair, loose textured hair. It's so many different things that if you've been gassed up your whole life about it, you can end up having a superiority complex with it. At the end of the day, it really just comes down to the woman and whether or not mentally she know how to separate her privilege and understanding that no matter what it is, it doesn't make her a better woman simply because of her having it. We were all uniquely created, right? Everybody got something to make them uniquely them. And if you've been gassed up about whatever that is, a lot of times, unfortunately, you got a superiority complex based off that thing, right? And a lot of times with women, you get to see the superiority complex come out when you make women upset. A lot of times you don't see women's superiority complex come out until you make them upset. And then that's when you'll get to see it. If she got a nice body and you say something she don't like, she gonna come for your body if she feel like your body don't look as good as hers. If you ain't got as much hair as her and she got long hair, you absolutely Gary be bald headed. You got a different texture of hair and her hair is loose texture, you absolutely Gary be nappy headed. Whatever it is that she's been gassed up about, that she feel like make her a better woman for having it, if you make her mad enough, you'll get to see how she really feel, right? I give some light-skinned women a side eye when they make content making it seem like they denouncing, colorism and that they don't entertain colorist men. You be eating it up offline. I'm pretty sure you be eating it up offline. Is that all light-skinned women? No, I'm sure there are some that are disgusted by colorism. But for the most part, a lot of them absolutely do not have the issues with it that they pretend to have online. Because when men are somewhere gassing them up and telling them that they the better woman, that they look better, he only talk to girls that look like her, she be eating it up, right? So I definitely give some light-skinned women a side eye in these conversations, but I just want us to be honest that is not only a light-skinned woman privilege issue. It's any type of privilege issue that you've internalized to make you think that you're a better caliber woman because of it.
We have to tread lightly on this subject of colorism because a lot of people's feelings are involved here. A lot of trauma, a lot of pain is rooted in racism and is trickling down colorism in the Black community. A lot of us don't know each other's experiences. Depending on what setting you're in, your privilege may or may not take you far at all. For example, if you live in Atlanta, Georgia, you know that it's predominantly black people that live there, and there's a lot of history of slavery. So the old time practices of colorism, that hierarchy still exists. So somebody who is a lighter skin complexion or multiracial, anybody that is quote unquote white passing, they may find themselves at the top of the quote unquote food chain because you look like someone who has more privilege. On the other hand, in California or another state where there's a different culture, where it's predominantly Hispanic out here, then you're just going to blend in like everyone else. And oftentimes, it depends on who you're around for your privilege to be realized. So, if being green is associated with having privilege, people will be dyeing their skin and their hair green. If they know that it's going to help them get ahead in life and they're not going to have to struggle so much, then people are going to cling to that. The biggest problem I see is the bullying that takes place because of it. If you see somebody who's not having a good experience with colorism, why would you post them and make fun of them just to gratify yourself? I see a lot of that happening on social media, and it's going too far. If you want to embrace what you are, who you are, that's fine. But to put down someone else in order to do that, whether you're dark skinned or light skinned, that's inappropriate.
You feel that there are a lot of advantages. Tell me about how you see yourself and then how you feel the world or you look at these women on the stage.
Well, being both African American, we all go through hard times and struggles. But to be a darker skinned African American woman versus someone who is assumed to be mixed, my struggles are definitely a lot harder than yours would be. I heard you say that, you know, people assume that you're mixed and then that you go and they say, where are you from? Are you from Indonesia? The excitement that they feel for you is the contempt that they feel towards me. When I walk into a room, I'm slave black. That's it. That means I'm dark.
What is slave black?
That means that I'm really dark skinned. There's no other way. All the bad stuff associated with black people.
I have been black for 34 years. I have never heard slave black.
You know, like sometimes you can pass maybe for mixed or maybe white. When you're slave black, you can't pass for anything other than black.
Did you make this up?
That's what it, yes.
You made up slave black, okay, because there were a lot of slaves of all different colors.
Yes, there were, but when I say that, that's saying all the negative connotation. Like, you remember the field versus the house?
Got it.
I'm in the field, there's no way.
But that's exactly the problem, the slave mentality, the connotation that being light or looking more like massa is better than a person who is darker skinned.
Right.
That's not my problem. That's society's problem. You can't change everybody, but you can change yourself
when those girls
and how you think of yourself.
When those type of girls walk into a room, is there a contempt that you feel inside?
It's not more of a contempt, but it's more of there's always going to be, you guys have it a lot easier. And from the moment that we walk in to a room together, it's evident. When I look at TV, it's evident. You can identify with the people you see on a commercial. I can't 90% of the time. You can walk into a store and find hair products and makeup that works for you. I can't. When people walk up to me, are you from a different country? Are you maybe from are you maybe Guyanese or something? No. Oh. Like, they're almost disappointed because I'm just black.
It's something about light-skinned girls, like, it needs to be studied. We need to make a research on that. It's like when God made the devil and put it into the light-skinned girls and put him on earth. It's like every time I'm talking to a light-skinned girl, I always have, something's always go wrong, chest hurting, I either lose weight, my head start hurting. Like, bro, it's never a successful relationship with them. They even when she tries to act nice in the beginning, she tries to act innocent in the beginning, towards the end, something always going on. Something is always wrong. It's like there's something in the light skin melanin. It gotta be the white side. I don't know, cause I don't know, bro. It's like I never had, like, it's never peaceful. I've never had peace. I've never had peace with them, man. I'm still gonna date them though. Still gonna crush. Still gonna date them. But y'all have a good one.
You have a privilege from your white side that you may get. No, you guys never, like, so you can identify as both, I feel like, because you do have the struggle from the black side, but you do have you have a privilege from being lighter skin as well. There is a biracial privilege that you get.
There is a privilege, but it comes with a price.
Okay.
And this is something that I don't think we talk about. Yes, I 100% see how racist white people will find us safer and more palatable to them, right? But I don't care what they think because my heart is not with them. It is far, I would trade the pain that I get from being dismissed by Black people for the disapproval of whites. I would rather them disapprove me over there and give up that privilege I have with them if I had a choice. I know I don't. And I definitely empathize with how darker skinned people are treated in this country. It's jacked up and I hate it. So when a man comes to me in that nonsense, oh, I don't date nothing darker than me, but don't even come around me like that because it is not complimentary to me. But it's people like me and Al that's supposed to check that when we hear that ignorant stuff and not allow that privilege to be such a thing. You know, it's a very complicated conversation. I think we need to give it like a really meaty segment or town hall.
For me, Armand, I do understand that there's a privilege for being of a lighter hue, for sure. But I can't transfer that privilege to the white community, right? I can they might feel safer around me, but at the end of the day, any chance that they get to remind me that I'm Black, they're gonna remind me that I'm Black. Does that make sense? So for me, in my experience, and I think I think Claudia and myself, I went to a PWI, I worked in PWI spaces, vacation in PWI spaces. I can't use this privilege of being light-skinned to pretend to be white. I just can't.
You would look crazy. You would look insane. And white people would even look at you crazy.
And they would check you.
Light skin privilege is only associated to the women. I don't think the men.
Yes and no.
Men get light skin privilege.
Yeah. Drake is light skin privilege.
How is Drake light skin privilege?
I think because when he first came out, he was odd looking, but somehow he slid his way in.
Are we gonna say that Drake only got here because of light skin privilege?
I mean, wasn't he in Degrassi?
Yeah.
That was light skin privilege.
They let him sit the whole time too. He was in a wheelchair. This is gonna be controversial. If you look at Tyler Perry movies, right? The girl is always dating a dark-skinned man who's nasty to her and he's mean to her. And then the guy that she falls in love with is a light-skinned guy with fuzzy braids, but he's good. This is just Tyler Perry's mind.
No, it's a lot of people's mind.
Okay. They do it in TV, they do it in
all
film.
The time.
Light-skinned male privilege is a thing. Like safe, you're safe Black.
So I want to talk about colorism, specifically pertaining to Beyonce's career. So for those who are unaware, Beyonce is a beautiful and talented Black woman who has had worldwide success and is a renowned superstar. And in the early parts of her career, she was actually in a girl group called Destiny's Child. I know we all remember Say My Name, Say My Name. I'm sorry. Anyways. Over the years, many debates have sparked over Beyonce's light skin privilege. And I think people bring this up because her dark skin counterpart in the girl group, Kelly Rowland, did noticeably receive less opportunities compared to Beyonce. However, over the years, many people have dismissed this conversation because their love for Beyonce is so strong that they don't want to admit the fact that she has benefited from her light skin privilege. And I think it's because people assume that when you say someone has light skin privilege, you're saying that they don't deserve the accolades that they have earned, or they don't deserve to receive the credit that they have. But that is not what we are saying when we acknowledge somebody has light skin privilege. We are just saying the problems they will face in the industry are going to be a lot less compared to somebody else who is darker skinned. However, Black women still like to deflect about this when it comes to Beyonce, even though her own father has admitted this as well. Take a look at this next clip.
And from a colorism perspective, show me at pop radio the number of Black women that were of high complexion and the number of Black women that were of dark complexion. When you look back at the charts at Top 40 Radio, you'll see that the Black women that have been successful with airplay were all of light complexion. I know this for a fact that their budgets were different. Their recording budgets were different. Their marketing budgets were different. Their advances were different. And so that was the discriminatory part of the industry that I witnessed. And again, this is from a research perspective. I've since learned that the common public don't understand the difference of research versus emotional.
So I want to unpack a few things that he said in this. I think people forget that Beyonce is an artist, and being an artist normally comes with a management team and a record label. And just like there's discrimination due to racism in the industry, there's also discrimination due to colorism in the industry, since colorism is literally a byproduct of racism. So lighter skinned people are going to get bigger marketing budgets. They're going to get more opportunities. They're going to get more sponsorships and brand deals because they're more marketable compared to a darker skinned person. And I also like how he brought up the pop genre.
Just to be blatantly honest, when we say pop in the industry, we mean white. When we say urban, we mean black, although that's not the definition. But yes, colorism does exist if you look at historically what's happened in terms of crossing over to pop radio.
A lot of black women start out in the urban industry and kind of cross over into the pop industry. And as he said, pop is a very white dominated genre with a very large white audience. So it's no surprise that most black women who cross over into the pop genre are light skinned, and the only ones who are charting are lighter skinned black women, because to white people, that is the more acceptable black person. And again, this is not taking away from Beyonce's talent or her hard work. She deserves everything she has. However, it is okay to acknowledge that her lighter skin did give her a privilege in the industry. But I want to know what y'all think about this, so let me know what you think in the comments.
The colorism in the music industry commentary is getting tiring because a lot of black people only promote people who they aspire to look like. They don't even promote the people who actually look like them in their reflection. And often I've studied what it takes to get in the forefront of blackness. And a lot of it does have something to do with complexion. And you see a lot of criticism from grade school of if you tell someone you have a crush on somebody and he's dark skinned, oh, y'all baby gonna come out black. So yeah, there is a fear of blackness from birth. A lot of kids pick up on it right away. So if someone just happens to pass the brown paper bag test, does that mean they automatically get a record deal and 100,000 followers on TikTok? Not necessarily. There's a lot of people at the forefront of the music industry who are dark skinned, like Lauryn Hill. Supermodel Naomi Campbell is not light skinned, and yet she's been in the fashion industry for decades. There's not always a formula for success, especially when it comes to colorism, because that goes with the old adage, just because you're light skinned doesn't mean you're cute. But a lot of people are basing their opinion off of the halo effect. But it goes without saying, a lot of lighter skinned people do benefit from ambiguity, meaning they can fit into multicultural settings. This woman writes, I've been looking white my whole life, and all it took was braids to make me look my ethnicity. In this case, this is benefiting her because she's able to jump in and out of blackness when she pleases, all by the change of a hairstyle. The irony is that some people may be light-skinned one minute, and the next minute you see them in the summertime, and you're wondering, where did the light skin go? So something as superficial as the skin color that can change by being in the sun for 5 minutes, you shouldn't be basing your whole existence on it.
There's this thing I've noticed. I like to call it light skin blindness. It's a condition that happens to people when they see light skinned people and they don't actually see their features. They just see the fact that they're light skinned. People who are affected by this condition might find themselves in situations where they're dating people who are significantly less attractive than them and not realizing so just because of the sheer light skinnedness. Now, I know a lot of light skinned people are going to come for me after this, but listen to me, I'm defending you here. You don't want to be with someone who just objectifies you, who just dates you just because you're high yellow, just because you progressively get whiter and whiter in the winter days, reaching levels where you could be mistaken for an actual white person. I'm telling you, you don't want to be with someone who objectifies you in that manner. The thing is, I've noticed that not just guys do this, but it's women too. Like, if you saw Anna Wren with her, crazy boyfriend, he was light-skinned, but compared to the way she looks, he's average compared to her, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense unless you apply to it the condition of light-skin blindness.
I have been told several times, I don't like you because you're light-skinned. I get told, oh, you light-skinned, you're not really black. But, I'm light-skinned because my great-great-great-grandmother was raped.
Right.
By James Uhl in Virginia, or in Maryland, I should say, who then subsequently had children every month after that for 12 months with other slaves that he owned.
and he put his name on their birth certificates. And this means that I'm also possibly related to Robert E. Lee. I am light-skinned because my great-grandmother on my mother's side was raped by her boss when she was a maid in Grenada. So I just feel like we oversimplify in a way that feeds this white supremacist ideology instead of looking to each other to say, how do we starve it with love and loving each other? So, I am not colorist. There are many times where I have had to consciously remove myself from spaces because these people don't know what the they're talking about. And they're like, well, you're black. Like this designer in Russia wanted me to be the face of her Africa campaign. I said, ma'am, the only way I can do that is if I am partnered in equal level with a dark-skinned person from the continent. Right. And they were like, ugh, you're just doing too much now. We don't even see race.
Don't you just love that one?
And it took me also a little bit to understand that colorism only works one way.
Right.
I don't know if bullying is the right word for what happens to light-skinned black folks who feel like they don't belong.
Right.
There is no way in the effective dissemination of white supremacy that we would not have dark-skinned women who don't like you because you light-skinned and light-skinned women who don't like you because you dark-skinned. They have been very effective at that division.
As a light-skinned woman, you really gotta understand when a man actually likes you for you or because of your skin complexion. What's weird is I actually had a guy in the past tell on himself and say, I love your skin complexion. Blocked. He don't like you. It is a fetish. That means that he don't have his own mind. He might be a little colorist. That means that man is still brainwashed from what we were taught. A lot of these people try to cover up the fact that they have a fetish with it's my preference because they don't even understand where it comes from.
In 2018, Zendaya said, I'm Hollywood's acceptable version of a black girl. And in 2016, she said, unfortunately, I have a bit of privilege compared to my darker sisters and brothers. Can I honestly say that I've had to face the same racism and struggles as a woman with darker skin? No, I cannot. And when she said that in 2016, I don't even think she was 21 yet at the time. And I also wanted to make note, I think part of the reason, and I remember when she made these comments, that changed my perception of Zendaya. Because I'm like, well, of course people like you. You're a pretty light-skinned, skinny black girl. To a certain extent, you're set up to kind of do better. I see why you're a fashion doll. You can fit into the sample sizes. But to hear her on her own, not just once, consistently acknowledge her understanding of colorism and race with real depth, I feel that's also a part of why she's good at being a celebrity. She's intelligent.
I just finished having a heart-to-heart conversation with my friends, and they basically told me that they stopped inviting me out places with them because they didn't like how much attention I was getting as the light-skinned friend. So naturally, I'm like, what do you mean by that? And they're basically telling me that every time we go out, I'm always the first person that people come to speak to, like, before the rest of them. And honestly, that's something that I never paid attention to just because I have my own man, so it's like I don't even be interested in that type of stuff. Like, I really don't be paying it no mind. Every time we go out and someone tries to approach me, they will like jump in front of me and be like, no, you can't talk to her like she has a man, like before I could even open my own mouth to say like, no, I'm not interested, I have a man. But I never chalked it up to being like a colorism type of thing. Like, I'm very aware that colorism exists. Like, I can't help the color of my skin. And this is honestly the first time in my life that somebody has told me like to my face, like, this is how we feel about you, we're gonna stop inviting you out. Like, so it's not like I'm trying to like not acknowledge anybody's feelings about this, but I'm just really taken aback. Like, I don't know what to think about this situation. Like, oh yeah, you didn't do anything wrong, but we can't have you around no more because of your skin color. Like, I hate that anybody in this world will have to experience colorism. I don't support that. I don't think it's right. I just don't feel like I should be cut off because of other people's sick way of thinking. I don't support that.
Unfortunately, this is a reality for a lot of light-skinned people who find themselves in predominantly black spaces. This usually happens when you're vying for male attention. And a lot of the black men, they tend to be very colorist, and they'll be flat out. They'll ignore a girl who's beautiful, but just because her skin is darker than yours, he will flat out ignore her and make her feel invisible. A lot of this is by default. A lot of women do not want this type of attention, but because a lot of black men are colorists, they will single you out. And so the burden is on the people who are lighter skinned. and they have to often soothe their friends, try to reaffirm them, or even take the brunt of the burden and be isolated and kicked out of the friend group. It's very similar to what happens to pretty girls in a pretty privileged dynamic. It's also more nuanced because now you're dealing with reactions from people outside of your Black community. How do the Asian community view you? How do the white community view you? How acceptable are you when you go into new settings? Are people being discriminative towards you? There were some girls who tried to get into a Miami nightclub and they were told that they were too dark skinned and too overweight to enter. In the same setting, this girl could be at the nightclub and her friends would be rejected and she would be allowed in. So this puts a lot of people with privilege at odds because nobody really forfeits their privilege. But in the same space, if you criminalize their privilege and isolate them, then people are at odds and they don't know how to feel about it. It's like you feel good that you have it, but at the same time, you feel ashamed for having it. And it's a really uncomfortable dynamic. My name is Christina. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe bar. Talk to you in the next one.